Hello all, thank you for watching my videos and joining back to my second video on software testing tutorial. In this video, I am going to talk about software testing lifecycle. Earlier we discussed software testing principles and software development lifecycle. And this tutorial is prepared for the people who wanted to join as a manual testing internship in my um company, that is MySys IT Services OPT Private Limited. It is a registered company, and then wanted to do the testing. And I have developed many portals, and one of them is software.com, and you will get an opportunity to work as a software reviewer, and which has hosted more than 70,000 softwares, and you will get an opportunity to review the softwares, and become a reviewer, and can have a citation in the site, and which you can refer to your profile, and then get a software tester career in your. So for the reference, how you need to do, you can also do that softwarepedia, softpedia.com, and you can see how the careers are built for the software testers. So I'm going to give you similar experience and expertise, with my software testing experience. Why my site? Because I have around 30 years of experience in the IT industry, and I have created a company, and I have many portals, and I have serial entrepreneur with many products like adware.com, software.com, couponsnugget.com, and I'm going to start netchess.biz, netrummychessbiz, and I also developed many games. Okay, so which I'm going to take it to the next level. And also I want to gain the people who join my company, and give you a internship opportunity for you to get the experience. So if you are interested, connect me at submit@mysys.com, or connect me in LinkedIn, VMR, and direct message me to discuss on the next steps on the jobs. So let us discuss further. Okay, so let us get into the topic, that is a software testing life cycle. uh, Till now we have discussed software testing principles and the software development life cycle, right? And now, as we discussed, once the development team is done, they create a build, and they deploy that in a QA, quality assurance environment, which will have all the softwares and test environment set up ready, and you will get the access how to do it, and then you will get the requirement specification document, as well as the access details for you to start doing the testing. So you will have a, either it can be a mobile app, or it can be a web based application, it can be a finance application, or it can be e-commerce application, or it can be any user defined requirement, or any product requirement also, which runs on the desktop. So you will have a specification how to actually log in, and then how to do the testing. And you will also get the user training on requirement specification, and the product training also. You will get the training, and you will get the requirement specification. So you need to understand and then become familiar before actually going into the next steps. So software testing life cycle, or STLC, phases of testing process, right? So it will have a test requirements analysis, and then test plan creation, environment setup, then test case execution, defect logging, and test life cycle, last test cycle closure, right? So each one we will actually discuss in this, because this is a very important topic, and this is the lifeline of your career. And then you will actually go through all these phases, right, one by one, right? So you need to understand the concepts, come back to Java point, testing, software testing tutorial, and then repeatedly understand the requirement mentioned here, the topics mentioned, and language mentioned. You need to talk on this language only during your interview process. Get this familiar, work as an intern in any of the organizations. I am one of the organization where I am providing one of the internship. Okay, so you can work as an intern and then get the concepts and get the training and get the knowledge what I have gained over a period of 30 years, and then become experienced in that software testing, and then go to the interviews. Okay. So so requirement analysis, this is the first step what you have to do it as a manual testing procedure is a, in this phase tester analyzes the requirements document as we discussed, right? During the requirements analysis there will be a requirement specification document. So you have to review that requirement specification document, and you have to actually create a test plan. Okay. Whether the software is meeting the requirements or not. Okay. So the entry criteria for this is for the planning of test plan requirement specification, application architecture document, and well-defined acceptance criteria should be available. Okay. So you need to actually take out all these as the input requirements, and then prepare the your test strategy. So now prepare the list of requirements, and then queries, and then get resolved from technical manager, lead system architecture, business analyst, and client. So you definitely have to spend time on understanding the product, understand the requirements document, and then you call for a meeting with the architects and then project manager, and ask them to actually give clarifications for all the queries which you have. Okay. You have doubt and then keep it with you, that will become a problem during your testing. So make a list of all types of tests: performance testing, functional testing, security to be performed. Make a list of test environments details, and which should contain all the necessary tools to execute test cases. So you also need to verify whether all the tools and softwares are installed or not. That also you have to verify. Deliverables: list of all necessary tests for the testable requirements and test environment details. Right. Now test plan creation. So you come into the next phase. So you have a requirements analysis, you understand what you need to do, or what are the requirements to discuss, and then make that, right? Now test plan, you need to create the test plan. So crucial phase of test STLC, where all the testing strategies are defined. Okay, tester determines the estimated effort and cost of the entire project. This phase takes place after the successful completion of a requirement analysis phase. Testing strategies and effort estimation documents provided by this phase. Test case execution can be started after the successful completion of a test plan. So what is that entry criteria? That is the requirements document. Then define objectives as well as scope of the software. List down the methods involving in testing. Overview of testing process. Settlement of testing environment. Preparation of test schedules and control procedures. Determination of roles and responsibilities. List down the testing deliverables. Define risk, if any. Output will be test strategy document, test effort estimation document, or the deliverables of this phase. Okay, remember this. Then environment setup. Setup of the test environment is an independent activity and can be started along with the test case development. So this is essential part of the manual testing procedure, as without environment testing is not possible. So environment setup requires a group of essential softwares and hardware to create the test environment. This testing team is not involved in setting up the environment test environment. It is a senior developers who create it. Okay. So test strategies, test plan document, test case document, test data, and also the environment, right? Environment setup, installation document are all inputs for this one. Prepare the list of software and hardware by analyzing requirement specification. After the setup of the test environment, execute the smoke testing cases to check the readiness of the test cases, and execution test report. Okay, so this is the environment setup. Okay, you see environment, there will be installation document also. Okay, there will be, that will be developed by the developers. You can actually use that, and then make that create the test cases and set up, and then give the whether you are able to because this will be useful where installation is also part of your customer deployment. Then this making that step very crucial is very important. Okay, so test execution, this is the crucial. So now test execution phase places after the successful completion of test planning. In this phase, the testing team starts test case development and execution activities. The testing team writes down the detailed test cases and also prepares the test data if required. Okay. The prepared test cases are reviewed by peer members and of the team or quality assurance leader. Requirements traceability matrix, as we have been discussing, is also prepared in this way. Requirement traceability matrix is the industry level format used for tracking the requirements from requirements analysis to the requirements testing, and it will go on till UAT also. Okay, it is a standard document which you need to maintain it. And entry criteria, what is the entry criteria for the your test case development and test execution? Requirement document. And then creation of test cases, execution of test cases, and mapping of test cases according to the requirements. Deliverables, text execution result, list of functions with the detailed explanation of this. Okay, where these will be logged into the Jira or bug tracking or Bugzilla or another. So defect logging, testers and developers evaluate the completion of criteria of the software based on the test coverage, quality, time consumption, cost, and critical business objectives. This phase determines the characteristics and drawbacks of the software. Test cases and bug reports are analyzed in depth to detect the type of the defect and its severity. Defect logging analysis mainly works to find out the defect distribution depending upon severity and types. If any defect is detected, then the software is returned to the development team to fix the defect. Okay, and then the software is retested in all the aspects of the testing. It is not on a one defect and then so you keep on rising and logging into the system, and then developers keep on testing and giving it you, or you can complete testing phase and then give the a consolidated testing report to the developer team where they will verify and come back. So multiple approaches you can follow. Okay, so what is that entry criteria? That is the text execution report to defect report to, and then it evaluates the at what are the activities we have already discussed, right? It evaluates the completion criteria of software based on test coverage, quality, time consumption, cost, and critical business objectives. Defect logging analysis finds out defect distribution by categories in the types and severity, like priority A, priority B, priority C. Okay, they are in web. Okay, they are in a database. They are in like categories, or they are in user interface. And then you give that closure report to test metrics to the developer team. Now test cycle closure. Okay, the test cycle, once you complete all this and then say that this test cycle one phase is over, this cycle closure report includes all the documentation related to software design, development, testing results, and defect reports. This phase evaluates the strategy of development, okay, and then testing procedures, possible defects in order to use these principles. So all documents and reports related to software, and then we do all those evaluating the strategy of our development, testing procedure, possible defects to use these practices in the future if there is any software with the same specification, and then test closure report. Okay, you give it to the development team again, that phase is over, and then you will come back after the customer developers fixes defects, and then you actually come back and then verify all the defects and then mark it either verified or reopened. Okay, we will see that defect life cycle in the future, but this is a very important chapter, and then come back here and then go through this chapter multiple times for you to go through. Okay, so we can actually discuss in detail if this topic covers. Let us go to that next topic, that is software testing, which we have discussed earlier, but we will go in detail on the types of software testing. We have seen what are the types of the software testing in our earlier discussion: manual testing, automation testing, and then we discussed what is white box. Manual testing, we have a white box testing, black box testing, and gray testing, and in that again black box we have functional testing, non-functional testing, and then in the functional testing we have unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and then in integration testing we have incremental testing and non-incremental testing, and top-down testing and bottom-down testing, and in performance testing we have load testing, stress testing, and scalability testing and stability testing. Right, in a compatibility testing or usability, we have usability testing, and you can see that accessibility testing also. Right, so the different types of software testing, let us go through one by one, and let us see. So the categorization of software testing is part of the diverse testing activities such as testing strategy, testing deliverables, defined test objectives. Okay, and software testing is the execution of software to find the defects that we already know. All right. So now the purpose of having a test type is to confirm, okay, the application unit test. Right. To start testing, we should have a requirements, application ready, necessary resource available to maintain accountability. We should assign a respective modules to different test engineers. The software testing mainly divided into two parts, which are manual testing and automation testing. We already discussed this. Okay, manual testing. So manual testing any software or application according to the client needs without using any of the automation tools is known as a manual testing. Okay, in other words, you can say that it is the procedure of verification and validation. Manual testing is used to verify behavior of application or software in a contradiction to the requirement specification. Right? Uh, we do not require any precise knowledge of any testing tool execute this because we manually prepare the test document and then go through that. We also prepare the test document for doing the testing. So white box testing and black box testing, gray box testing. What is the white box? In white box testing, the developer will inspect every line of code before handing it to the testing team. Okay, or is concerned test engineers, right? So this is basically unit test. We can also say unit testing. The code is noticeable for developers through the testing. That is why this process is known as a white box testing. In other words, we can say that the developer will execute the complete white box testing for a particular software and send the specific application to the testing team. So white box testing is done by developer to see that they actually each line of code is covered when they are doing the testing. Okay, the purpose of implementation of the white box is to emphasize that flow of inputs and outputs over the software and enhance the security of the application. So input to application code, and when you are executing, all those lines blocks are covered and output is generated. Okay, you will have a multiple inputs and multiple outputs and multiple test cases. So white box testing is also known as open box testing, glass box testing, structural testing, clear box testing, and transparent box testing. Okay, it is clear testing. So understand these terminologies. People try to confuse you. So maybe these synonym testing methodologies you need to by head it to multiple times. Black box testing is another type of manual testing. In this testing, the engineer will analyze the software against requirements, identify defects or bug, and then send it back to the development. This is the job which you usually do as a tester, as a manual tester. Okay. Then developers will fix the defects and do one round of white box testing and then send it to the testing team. Here, fixing the defects means the defect is resolved and a particular feature is working according to the given requirement. Right? Test case input, black box testing, test case output. Okay, what are the you will have to test it functional requirements and non-functional requirements as part of your black box testing. Okay, so functional requirements is as part of the system, right? A requirement specification document, which are okay. Non-functional are these are all also component testing. In functional testing, all the components are tested by giving value, defining the output, and validating the actual output with the expected value. Okay, so types of functional testing is unit testing, contain that unit testing, integration testing, and system testing. These are all functional testing. Okay, so unit testing we already discussed. Developer will do whatever they developed based on ensure that code coverage is done, and then their logic is working at the interface level or at the web service development level, and then ensure that they are getting what is input, and they will also test with the boundary condition for each function. What is the input given? What is the output we are getting? All those at that level. Actually, the team will do the testing. Integration testing. Once we successfully implement this unit testing, we will go integration testing. Right? It is the second level of functional testing. where we test that data flow between dependent modules or interface between two features is called integration testing. Okay, so various modules are for example from the mobile to the web server, whether data is flowing, how the data is flowing, how the data is written back, how data is presented, how data is lost, okay, all those things. Okay, in this also incremental testing and non-incremental testing, right? Incremental testing, okay, where there is a clear relationship between modules, we go for incremental testing. Suppose we take two modules and analysis data flow between them, if they are not working fine or not. Okay, if these modules are working fine, then we go and add more modules and then test it. That is a incremental. Okay, non-incremental, we actually go with the top-down incremental testing or bottom-up incremental testing, right? In a top-down, we add the modules step by step incrementally and test the data flow between them. We have to ensure that the modules are adding, we are adding our child to the earlier ones. Bottom up, in the bottom approach, we will add the modules and check the data flow between the modules and also ensure that adding is the parent. We actually add to the parent of the module. Okay, that is the bottom up. Non-incremental integration testing or a Big Bang method, whenever the data flow is complex is complex and very difficult to classify a parent and child, we will go for a non-incremental approach. That is, non-incremental method is known as Big Bang. So you go with the blast, right? So system testing. So whenever we are done with the unit and integration testing, we can proceed with the system testing. In system testing, this test environment is parallel to the production environment. It is also known as end-to-end testing. In this type of testing, we will undergo each attribute of the software and test if the entire feature works according to the business requirement and analyze that the software product as a complete system. Okay, so let us see non-function testing. The next part of black box testing is a non-function testing. It provides a detailed information of a software product, okay, performance and used technologies. So non-functional testing will help minimize the risk of production related costs of the software. Non-functional testing is a combination of performance, load, stress, usability, and compatibility. Okay, so we will deep dive into this later chapters. Types of non-functional testings, you can see performance testing we have seen, right? Usability testing and compatibility testing. Performance testing, we will see what is the response time, load time, scalability. Okay, so we can have a load testing, stress testing, scalability testing, and stability testing. Load testing use how many users are concurrently are able to handle. Okay, that we can actually see that as a part of load testing. Stress testing, it is used to analyze the user friendliness and robustness of the software beyond the common functional limits. Okay, primarily stress testing is used to for a critical software, but it can also be used for all types of software applications. Scalability, to analyze application is performance by enhancing reducing the load in a particular balance is known as a scalable. Okay, when for example if 100 users are there and it is environment is in one, then dynamically we are actually adding when users are increasing, then whether it is actually working. So this kind of scalability testing we can do. Stability testing, so when we do that regression testing and then load testing and then okay, how stable is our system, how when more users have come, how stable, are there any disturbances, are there any server down environment, are there any network issues, how are there any performance issues, all those things are verified, okay, in the stability. So usability testing is one of the non-functional testing. In the usability testing, we will analyze the user friendliness of application to detect bugs in those software and user. So user application should be easy to understand, which means that all the features must be visible to the end users. The application's look and feel should be good, and that means that the application should be pleasant looking and make a feel to the end user. Okay. So compatibility testing. In compatibility testing, we will check the functionality of an application in a specific hardware and software environments. Once the application is functionality stability, then only we have to go for the compatibility testing, right? Then let us see the last one, that is a gray box testing. Gray box testing, Another part of manual testing is a collaboration of black box and white. Since gray box testing includes the access to the internal coding for designing the test case, gray box testing is performed by person who knows coding as well as testing. In other words, we can say that it is a single person team done both by white box and black box. It is considered gray box testing. Okay, so that is the this gray box testing was initial period. The gray box testing is there, but when system grows and maturity has grown, the testing team has been evolved, and testing team has they created the separate test team, and now it has become a option for all the testers. So automation testing we have touched upon. The more common software testing is automation. It uses the a manual design test case without any human interface. So it has a test script, then test execution, and then test automation, right? So some other types of testing or smoke testing. We'll discuss this. Sanity testing, regression testing, user acceptance testing, exploratory testing, adapt testing, security testing, and globalization testing. Let us understand those types of testing one by one. So this gives you overview for you. If you want, you can combine. Understand. In smoke testing, we just take up a few test cases and then do the testing. Okay, we will test an application's basic and critical features before doing one round of deep testing. We just see, okay, random test cases and see that whether it is actually working. Okay, or before checking our positive negative values. Okay, known as we will do that smoke testing. Analyzing workflow of applications core and main functions is the main objective of performing the smoke testing. We will dig deep. I think this we have a separate topic on this. Sanity testing, we already discussed sanity testing, right? Before doing the production deployment, after user acceptance testing is done, or before after deploying into the production, we just want to do one round of sanity testing, ensuring that production is up and running before actually making that production live. So it is used to ensure that all the bugs have been fixed and no added issues come into existence due to these changes. So sanity testing is unscripted, which means we cannot document it. It checks the correctness of newly added features and components. Just a quick verification, we can actually do that sanity testing. So regression testing is a very important, in the testing, right? That means whenever we are actually raising the defect, and then we actually give that defect to the developer, and developer fixes that, and then that particular defect has come for verification. So what we actually also need to verify is, because of this defect fix, there are no side effects. Okay, so that is the testing we will do. That is called regression testing. Is the most commonly used type of software testing, and the term regression implies that we have to retest those parts of unaffected application, right? We have to ensure that the other part of the features apart from actually fixed defect should also be tested to ensure that this does not have a side effect. Okay, so regression testing is the most suitable testing for automation tools. So as per the project type and accessibility resources, regression testing can be similar to retesting. Whenever a bug is fixed by developers and then testing the other features or applications that might be similar to because of the bug fixing is known as regression testing. This is what I mentioned, right? So user acceptance testing. This is actually done by individual known as a domain expertise or customer or a client, and knowing the application before accepting the final product is called user acceptance testing. After user acceptance testing, and customer confirms that all the there are no defects or no defects which are no caused for delivery. Okay, then a product can be go for deployment to the production. So this is the important phase, and this will be done by the mainly by the customer or customer team. In user acceptance testing, we analyze the business scenarios, real-time scenarios, or on the distinct environment called the UAT environment. In this testing, we will test that application before UAI for a for a customer approval. Exploratory testing, whenever the requirement is missing, early iteration is required, and the testing team has a experienced tester where we have a critical application. New test engineer, now new test engineer entered into the team. Then we go for the exploratory, for them to explore. To execute the exploratory testing, we will first go through the application in all possible ways, make a test document, understand the flow of the application, and then test the application. Adapt testing. So it is a whenever there is a sudden bug fix and want to get release quick, right? Quick release. Then we go with the adapt testing. Of course, it is a dangerous way of doing, but to quick fix and give it to the customers for a particular defect. So we go with the adapt testing and then ensure that other things are not affected and plan for it. But this should be avoided and given it to the customer. Testing the application randomly as soon as the build is checked in the checked sequence is known as it is called monkey testing or gorilla testing. In adult testing, we will check the application in a contradiction of the client's requirements. That is why it is also known as negative testing. When the end user using the application casually, he may detect a bug. Still, the specified test engineer uses the software thoroughly, so he may not identify similar detection. We will discuss that in later. So security testing, this has become a separate career itself. People who are familiar with security concepts will become a part of the security, and it has become its own vast subject because of importance of the security of a product, and it is essential part of software testing used to determine the weakness, risks, threats in the software application. The execution of security testing will help us to avoid any nasty attack from the outsiders to ensure our software application security. So this is vast subject, and this, the testers will do penetration testing, vulnerability testing, okay, and then hardware hardening testing. All those are part of security testing, and security testing itself is a separate career. Globalization testing. Another type of software testing is a globalization testing. Globalization is used to check that the developed software for multiple languages or not. Here, the words globalization means enlightening the application or software for various languages. So, globalization testing is used to make sure that the application will support multiple languages and multiple features. So I think that is good. Okay, so that is the I think we have done a good number of types of testing: white box, black box testing, and gray testing, functional testing, non-functional testing, regression testing, adaptive testing, security testing. There are many testing topics we have encountered. So you come to this site and then walk through it for you to understand, and go through my site and this video also for you to get that understanding. So as I mentioned, I have started internship opportunity for testing, manual testing career, and automation testing also. I'm going to create JTest tutorial soon, and for the automation testing, and my applications which are developed with web services, they can use that SOAP testing or web service testing or API testing, or or you can become a manual tester, or you can also become a manual tester with the vulnerability testing and penetration testing, and so a lot of careers are there in the testing, and you can do internship based on your requirement. I'm offering internship in the testing career, and you can actually join internship, and if you are interested, you connect to me, submit at mysys.com, and then or link to me in a VMR, and then connect to me, and then direct message to me. We will discuss further, and then I am sure that with my knowledge of 30 years of experience in the IT industry, you will definitely will be able to make up your career in the testing career. Okay, if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you need any additional topics to be covered, comment in the comment section. I will bring that particular topic in our upcoming. And this is the second video of software testing tutorial, and I'm going to cover all the topics mentioned in the Java point software testing. And keep watching my videos, and thank you and bye.